Hi, this is Bishop Craig in Lansing, and this is take one for the week of August 3rd. I'm recording this before I go to the churchwide assembly. You will watch it after I return from the churchwide assembly. By then, we will have elected a new presiding bishop and a new secretary and made some other decisions. I'm recording ahead of time because I learned a long time ago, do not comment on things that happen at churchwide assemblies until a couple weeks after they happen, because we never know how things are going to shake out. Let's all remember sanctuary synods or sanctuary church or whatever it was, where people thought I was going to be delivering cots to churches to hide illegal immigrants. The bottom line is that this is Christ's church, and it'll be fine. So when I return from the churchwide assembly, I will have 19 days left in the office of bishop. I would say my grief is palpable. I've been talking to pastors about leaving calls they loved, and even when it's the pastor's choice to leave, there is always grief and heartbreak and sobbing. That has been my own experience in leaving calls to do what I believe God was calling me to do next. So there's an extra level of tangible grief when I'm leaving a call. I thought God wanted me to continue doing it. So I'm excited about the future. I'm grieving, letting go, and I'm somewhat afraid of what comes next because I don't know. And so the gospel reading is really helpful for me. Jesus says, do not be afraid, little flock, for it is your Father's pleasure to give you the kingdom. And that's really good news. We don't know what's coming next in the short term, but we know ultimately that in Jesus Christ we receive the kingdom or the reign or the life of God. And that's really good news. And so the invitation to not be afraid, because it is our Father's good pleasure to give us the kingdom, means that we are to live with good courage. Be of good courage, for God has called you, and your labor in the Lord is not in vain. I tell pastors at ordination, I always get choked up because I know they're going to need good courage. So we are to live with good courage and rather than be afraid. And I think our readings help us take shape or give shape to what that life of good courage means. So in Luke, it's about selling possessions and giving alms. Courage involves generosity. It's about where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. So put your treasure in heaven and not in the things that fall away. Have your lamps lit and be ready for action. But most important from Jesus' words is expect to encounter Jesus at any time, because he's coming and he'll come unexpectedly. And I think that's not only true for the end of time, but that's part of our time. Jesus shows up perhaps when we least expect him and need him the most. If we go back to our tour of the prophets, we begin with Isaiah. And Isaiah's vision condemns Israel, condemns God's people for worshiping and not living lives that reflect their worship. So we might say that they're living one way on Sunday or on the Sabbath day or on the festival days, and another way the rest of the week or the rest of the time. And Isaiah makes clear that God has had enough of this, that he is wearied by their sacrifices, he has stopped listening to their prayers, and he's looking for them to live godly lives. And he talks about godly lives as seeking justice, rescuing the oppressed, defending the orphan, and pleading for the widow. So to live bravely is to live out the things that we proclaim and profess in worship, so that Sunday becomes the model and the energy for the rest of the week. And then in Hebrews, it's a wonderful treatment of faith. Faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen or experienced, the author of Hebrews says. And then the author of Hebrews does this wonderful reflection on the life of Abraham and Sarah and how their whole life was lived by faith in God. It really was the pursuit of things hoped for based on convictions of things not seen. And it's the life of Abraham. And, I had a friend who used to kid, Abraham was promised descendants and a land, and he got one son and a grave. The promise was coming, but Abraham didn't see it. And the author of Hebrews talks about Abraham pursuing a better country, a homeland, a heavenly country. And that is what we're all about, pursuing a better country, a homeland, a heavenly country, the reign of God, however you want to talk about it, consider it, think about it. It's pursuing God's life as God intends it. And we may not see it fulfilled in our lifetime, but we trust the promise that it will be fulfilled in God's time. So we move forward, even when we're unsure, even when we're grieving, even when we're invited to take a step, move in a direction we didn't expect. We live bravely, having no fear, because it is God's good pleasure to give us the reign of God, and we can expect to encounter Jesus at any time. So I'm Bishop Craig, and this is Take One, and that's what I'm thinking about as I prepare to go to and return from the Churchwide Assembly in Phoenix. I want to remind you again that if you're watching this on YouTube, in a few weeks we'll be moving to Patreon once my term as bishop ends, and you'll need to subscribe in order to continue to watch these Take One videos, and I hope you will, but I want to be clear about that. So I'm Bishop Craig, this is Take One, and may the peace of Christ be with you always. Take care.